Hi, Kanishk, are you here?
Good evening, Dr. Pallavi. I'm here.
Okay, good evening. Kanishk, may I start?
Yes, please. Let's quickly start.
Okay. Good evening and a very pleasant welcome to everyone. I'm Dr. Pallavi Goel, Associate Dean of Student Welfare here at Galgottias University. We bring a special webinar for you today on best practices to safeguard against online abuse, exploitation, and cyberbullying. In our continuing collaboration with India Future Foundation, we hope to make this day a voice for women's safety and tackle practical real-world ways that women face injustice through the cyberspace. Joining us today will be the founder of India Future Foundation, Mr. Kanish Kaur, as a social entrepreneur outside being a management consultant and advisor. We are graced to have him on. We also have respected Pro-Vice Chancellor of Galgottias University, Professor Dr. Pradeep Kumar, a leading educationist and activist for social campaigner for the community with over 25 years of experience interacting with professional and academic worlds through teaching, training, and placements. I welcome to my respective Dean of Computer Science, Dr. Manish Sabharwal, sir, without whose support this even would not be possible. Now, because of whom we are here together and we are able to think about the women's safety on the cyber, because of our prominent speakers we are having with us. Joining us is Rohini Manchanda, a counselor and gender rights activist. Amit Dubey, a cyber security expert and crime investigator. Mr. Sanjay Kumar, DIG of Kerala Police and Nodal Officer of Kerala Cyber Dome. Mr. Brijesh Singh, Inspector General of Police to the Government of Maharashtra, and Khushbu Jain, a cyber law expert and advocate in the Supreme Court of India. I thank you all for being with us today on the panel and hope a productive conversation can arise from the topics of discussion today for the benefits of all of us and the fellow attendees. I now hand over the session to Mr. Kanish for him to lend us his words. Welcome, Kanish ji.
Thank you, Dr. Pallavi. Good evening, students of Galgottia Universities and students of Chitkara, Amity, and some of the other leading universities who have joined us today. And thank you, Dr. Pradeep, for giving us this opportunity for carrying out this webinar focused towards cyber safety of women and children. We also have somebody from Central Bureau of Investigation. We have Mr. Kiran Shivakumar. He is a DIG with the Central Bureau of Investigation, working on the aspects of safety of women and safety of children. He's a Chief Commonwealth Fellow. We also have Miss Anju Pandey. She is a program specialist with UN Women. So Ms. Pandey works exclusively on the rights of women, and she works on outreach programs. She will be leading the second session today. Before we move on, I want to give a quick overview why we are doing this. We have seen that digital systems are taking over the world today. We have seen that while we work from home, everything is being connected through digital technologies, and we are accessing internet for most of our services and work. So it's important that while we access internet, the dignity of women and is maintained. And at the same time, we take care of certain best practices while we access internet and we access social media. But this intent, India Future Foundation has got a panel of experts who are primarily, one, handling cybersecurity related complaints with their respective departments, then people who are experts in solving cybersecurity related issues, then counselors who are involved in helping students, particularly girls and women, in handling issues with respect to cyber safety are with us today. Why we're trying to do this is primarily to give more answers. We receive a lot of questions with people who had registered, and they wanted to know what are certain best practices which are there, which could be followed while we are online. Are there certain helplines which we can access if we face any issues? What are the laws which we can really go up to in case there is any disaster? And what is the kind of help which is available offline in case students have any issues or they get stuck? So quickly moving forward, I have with me subject matter experts for the first panel. The first panel will be focusing towards the topic responding to online abuse and cyberbullying. In this, we will discuss and try and understand what is the modus of operandi of cyber criminals and how do we respond to online abuse. So moving forward, we have got Rohini Manchanda. She's a counselor and gender right activist. She'll be our first speaker. She's a mentor with us at India Future Foundation, and she leads campaign to create mental health awareness and impact. She's also counseling a lot of students with respect to safety, with respect to handling bullying, and she is an image consultant. Then we have Mr. Amit Dubey, who is a cybersecurity expert and an investigator. He's got more than 16 years of experience solving cybercrime cases. He has worked with organizations such as CBI, NIA. He's helped local police departments solve cybercrime cases. He's helped a lot of women in responding to cybercrime related issues. And then we have Mr. Sanjay Kumar, who is a nodal officer with Kerala Police Cyberdome, who's an expert in child safety. He's written a book on child safety, which is there in 4 languages and is a bestseller. So quickly moving on, if I can request my fellow panelists and speakers to switch on their cameras so that so first we have Rohini. We have Mr. Amit Dubey. Then we have Mr. Sanjay Kumar. So my first question is to Rohini. Rohini, we have seen that cyberbullying is pretty prominent in our society today, and there are people who are victims of cyberbullying. So how do you think that cyberbullying really impacts an individual in short term and long term?
Thank you so much. Am I audible?
Yes.
Thank you so much, Kanishk, and good evening, everyone. First of all, actually, I would like to thank my team of IFF and also the team of Kalgotias University for organizing this, because safety of women has been and will always be very important. But the problem is that actually, Kanishk, before answering your question, I would like to, enlighten some points, if that's okay.
Yes.
Kanishk? Sorry, yes.
Yeah,
okay.
You can.
Yes. So we have been raised in a society and the culture wherein women are made to sacrifice a lot in their lives. But why do we only sacrifice? By saying this, I don't mean that we should not sacrifice, All I mean here is that we women have the capacity to make as much sacrifice life requires from us, but at the same time, do something best with our lives. So let no person tell us otherwise, be it our own parents, siblings, friends, or the society. Do you girls know the power vested in us? The day you realize that power, let me tell you, and trust me when I say this, no one in this world can exploit you, can stop you from moving forward. All you need to do is believe in yourself. But when I see the current generation going to the college right now, or let's say the teens, I get worried. It worries me to the core because the generation is even smarter and confident, but somewhere they're seeking a validation. They're seeking an approval on social media for which they post their whole life on it and get sad when people don't like it or like others better. So the use of social media has to be done very wisely. Social media and technology was made for us to stay connected to each other, not to show off. I know that we're supposed to talk about how can we save women from exploitation, cyberbullying, or any kind of abuse. But let me tell you the truth. The first person who can save you from all this is you yourself. Yes, there will be hurdles. Yes, there will be many obstacles. There will be people who will be telling you off, who will be reminding you of that sacrifice you have to make constantly in your life. Reminding you that maybe you're here because you're just a woman. That's why you're here. But that's the time when you have to tell yourself, no, I am here because I'm extraordinary. I'm here because I deserve it. I'm here because I earned it. You know, when you absolutely love your life, you don't need any kind of validation or approval from anyone, not even your parents. But again, having said that, you need to see that, are you on a right path? Maybe it's just you that you think your life is great, because we are often mesmerized by superficial things like attention, likes on social media, followers. How many followers have we got, etc. What is the point of having thousands of likes on your picture when only 2 or 3 come forward when you need help? That's why we need a reality check quite often to realize that whatever I'm doing, does it make me happy? Do I have a contentment in life? Because honestly, after working with thousands of people, I've realized that people just want one thing in life: contentment, a life of contentment. If one really wants to have a house or a money, she can very well do it. I guarantee that. If that person has a dedication, that person can very well make money. But getting a life of contentment is one thing which one needs to practice and work for. So I think, like every other woman, I also had hurdles in my life. Let me just tell you a little short story. I also had some hurdles in my life when I wanted to achieve something big. I wanted to do something different because it made me happy. But there were constant taunts and things I had to hear from the relatives, the society, etc. So one night I was feeling really helpless. All I could think was, that I really want to do this with my life because it makes me happy. But with all this pressure and from the society and the constant taunts, how do I do it? So something came to my mind, and I'm not much of a writer and definitely not a good one. But back then it just came to my mind and I wrote it on a paper, which has been my inspiration for all these years. And I would like to tell you guys because I think every woman needs to know this. So it goes like this. ये दुनिया तुझे जीने का ढंग बताएगी. ये दुनिया तुझे जीने का ढंग बताएगी. ऐसे मत बैठो, ऐसे कपड़े मत पहनो. लड़कियों को ये शोभा नहीं देता. जैसी बातें करके तुझे समझाएंगी. तेरे अपने भी तुझे इस दुनिया की रीत सुनाएंगे. पर तू चलती चल. तू उड़ती चल. आंख बंद कर अपने मन की करती चल. देखना एक दिन यही सब तुझसे तेरी खुशी का राज पूछने आएंगे. Guys, I hope it inspires you all in being your very best version. And if you ever fail to understand life or anything going on with you, you can always reach out to your parents or any other counselor, or you can always reach out to me. There's no harm in taking help and reaching out to someone, but it's high time that we need to bring the change in the society. And there are so many things going on in society, but that the change needs to be there. The change has to be there. But let's take baby steps. Let's change our thinking first, and then our family members, and then the world. Don't you think if we all try and start with ourselves first, rather than blaming others, a lot will change? So in a nutshell, when you actually believe in yourself, you will see that there's a huge difference in your life. The major difference you will see that you will have guts and courage to fight for yourself, no matter what it takes. If someone's abusing you online, exploiting you offline, bullying you in any way, online, offline, you will fight back because you have to. But there will be I'm just finishing. Yes, thank you. But there will be circumstances where you will have to fight, not just fight, but also report and identify the crime. And that's where I think Mr. Amit and Mr. Sanjay will definitely help you with that. I think I would like to say to all the women here. And sorry, Kanishk, you were asking something. Yes.
Thank you, Rohini. That was really inspiring. So quickly moving on to Mr. Amit Dubey. Amit, you have been handling a lot of cyber crime related cases, particularly which have been targeting women. And you have been involved with police. And a lot of times police are not themselves able to solve these cases. And we have seen they require help of external experts. So, if we have to look at solving cybercrime, what are some of the best practices which can be taken? You've solved a lot of cases. Where do you think we can really start?
Thank you, Kanishk, and thank you everyone, Galgotia University, and all the members, those have helped us to organize this event. I would like to start with something where I'm not an expert into. I would like to start with law, actually. So all these lawyers and police experts, please forgive me for that. And there is a reason for that, because I'm going to take it from where Rohini has left. Like, why these people, or especially the women and children or girls, why don't they report all these crimes? Because they don't know that these are the crimes. sometimes they are not aware about the IT acts or the provisions that we have. So if suppose somebody is giving you continuously Facebook requests and you are denying it, you are not interested, and despite of that, he is following you or stalking you, it is a crime. It is a severe crime. Somebody is somebody has approached you with a different identity and then try to build some relationship with you. It is a severe crime. Somebody has stolen your identity. I've received many such complaints from girls where their Facebook profile is cloned, and the other person is actually posting obscene images on behalf of her, and just to defame her, just to harass her, bully her, and that happens so frequently. It is a severe crime, and there are security IT Act provisions for that. So I would just like to give you a glimpse of it and try to know your powers. So there are these 4 sections that you should remember, because when you are reporting this crime to any police station, and if you know this, it will help you a lot. Because I'm sure many of these police stations, they may not take it that seriously, because either they don't know, or even if they know, they don't know how to investigate such cases. So there are different reasons for that. But we can always reach out to these criminals. There are ways to investigate these kind of crimes, and I have investigated. I have successfully traced out these criminals who were hiding behind social media or such virtual world, but we could trace them. The only thing is, yes, it requires some spatial expertise, tools, technologies, which many of us have, and where we can help definitely. So these are the 4 things. I would like to start with this, and I'm sure this will help you to raise your confidence for sure. 354D is for stalkers. So this anti-stalking law prohibits and punishes anyone who repeatedly contacts or attempts to contact a woman despite clear sign of disinterest. Now here we have a provision of 3 years of jail. So anybody who is actually a jiddi ashik, please beware. 66C revenge porn. You have some friend, and then after marriage, this guy is blackmailing you by threatening you that he'll share these images, personal images, which you would have shared with this person earlier. You have all the rights to share your images with anybody, but no one has the rights to share any such content anywhere without your permission, which has any of your personal or private content. And that has a provision of 3 years of jail and 2 lakhs of punishment, 2 lakhs of penalty. Angel Priya, where somebody is actually creating a fake identity and approached you. We get lots of such fake girls. Those are actually being controlled, like these all profiles are managed by boys, and they approach to different people, even children, teenagers, and they try to do child grooming sort of attempts. It's a severe crime. And if somebody is cloning your identity and trying to deceive you, or try to commit you something, or blackmail you eventually, or to try to defame you, that is also a crime. So 66C is for that. Now this is something which everybody should know, I think, and with this, you would know your powers when you are approaching to police with any such complaint. And these are the generic things which is happening around us: cyber stalking, identity theft, sextortion, cyber bullying, cyber defamation, child pornography, and cyber grooming. These are the serious, I think, classified crimes those are happening nowadays and have been reported in large numbers. And I'm sure Sanjay will share some of these experiences, because he has actually investigated and solved many such kind of crime cases. These are some case studies which has happened during this lockdown period. I'm just especially mentioning you because in these last 3 months itself, we received many such complaints of stalkings, blackmailing on WhatsApp, viral videos. You would have seen about this boys' locker room story, and somebody has been like cheated on Facebook friend request, and something being captured to a hidden camera. There are some helpline numbers I'm sharing with you all. Please reach out to those guys. This information you can get on cybercrime.gov.in. So cybercrime.gov.in is an integrated portal where you will see the nodal officer's name of all the states. Please, you can refer that. CyberDost is a Twitter handle by Ministry of Home Affairs. You can always refer that. There are some other helplines, especially for women and girls. So you can always use them as well. I'll share these details with your dean. And then how to register these complaints. So I'm quickly referring you, because sometimes you don't know how to solve your problem on your own. So if somebody is stalking you on Facebook, or giving you a problem on Twitter, or maybe Instagram or TikTok, There are clear-cut helpline where you can complain all these things and this will be resolved. There are links for reporting a privacy violation page. You can report about a page. You can report about if something is posted abusive or inappropriate, nudity or something. Then on Instagram, you have help.instagram.com. Please go there and you will have a detailed complaint portal where you can complain about each and everything. And quickly, I'm
I think we've lost Amit. Amit, we are not able to hear you. So
I think network issue.
yeah, so let's moving on to Sanjay. Sanjay, you closely working with the Kerala Cyber Dome, and you have been handling a lot of cases with respect to crime against women. So there are aspects on coping up with cyberbullying, online harassment, particularly with respect to the ones which are humiliating. So what would be the best practices which the girls and women who are here could follow?
Thank you, Ganesh, and good evening to all the members on the platform. Kanishk, before the query which you have put, I would like to just highlight few points as a police officer, which generally I face. If like there is lot of queries, and so many people feel that there is a lot of online crimes. In recent past, it has increased a lot. I just wanted to highlight few things. In addition to that, there is an additional disadvantage, or we can say that the female victims, generally they are very reluctant in coming up to the police stations and giving a complaint. I'll just I'm quickly just give few points. First of all, I'll just say why there is an increase in the crime. People should understand that. Let us see in a two perspective. One is from the accused perspective. Second thing is from the victim's perspective. Tanishk, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. So when we see from the accused point of view or the technological point of view, the technology has actually given a extended platform, the technological platform for all the criminals, which is actually disadvantageous to the victim. It is dangerous to the victim, while it is very advantageous to the accused. Like why I say advantageous, because here the accused or the criminals can take cover of anonymity. They can impersonate easily. They can even take a technological cover, like they can use VPN, or they can use there are so many ways by which they could hide their identity. Because of all this, there is a tendency of people, they get more prone. They fear that they won't be identified. That is the reason they are more towards committing such crimes. Earlier, also in colleges and schools, there were traditional bullies who used to harass, or who used to beat or whatever, in different ways. But now, after the advent of technology, even earlier in a traditional form, the small, weak or thin fellow, he will never harass a person, or he will not have a guts to come for an harassment. But now, after coming the anonymity, if that person is a tech savvy, he can easily come on the platform and he can do whatever harm to anybody. Another disadvantage, like why such kind of crimes are not reported. If you see the statistics, it says that less than 30% of the cases are actually reported. I'm talking about 30% of, less than 30% are reported. And out of that reported cases, which actually comes to the knowledge of the police, very few are actually registered, because everybody who gives a complaint, they generally have a tendency that they just do not want to pursue the legal action. They somehow want to sort out and solve the issue. There are certain reasons, like why people do not come out for reporting. There are first reason what Rohini told, like people so many times they do not realize that whatever they are facing is actually a cybercrime that amounts to a cybercrime. Second thing is, like once you become a victim, there is some kind of a social stigma attached to it. We start thinking that, okay, if such thing is informed to the police, or it comes out to some common people, definitely there will be some kind of a social stigma. There's another fear, that some students, they feel that, if they complain this, there may be whatever mobile phone or smartphone they are having, their parents might take it away. And in our society, somehow we have a tendency that online harassment is not taken so seriously. It is very lighter. It is lighter. Even another bigger problem is, so many females, or so many, they feel that going to the police station and giving a complaint will be a more tedious or more harassing for them. They feel that the traditional police may harass, or they might ask some questions and all. There is some kind of a lack of confidence among the police force. But I would like to say that we, as a police officers or as a police team, we have made lot of developments, especially dealing such cases. There are specialized wing, there are cyber cells, there are cyber police stations, and we are actually investigating those cases with utmost sensitivity. So if any person is facing any kind of a problem, I mean, they should feel free to come up, because most of the time, anybody who's harassing, mostly it happens, when they are extorting or they're blackmailing or whatever they are doing. Most of the time, the criminals can take advantage, or they can easily bully you, or they can abuse you, just because they are sure that you will not speak out, you will not open your mouth. So, but most of the problem, I can say that 90% of the problem will get sorted out, provided you just speak out and take some help, or police or anybody else. One, just in a nutshell, I would like to say what Ganesh told, cyberbullying. I'll just tell you 5 steps, like for example, first try to, if the bullying is really very small, like somebody has passed any comment or some harassment, so just try to avoid. Like we are so much into social media that anything coming or anybody writing, we take it to the heart. So if the bullying is really very small, try to just avoid it, just forget it, because people are not at all bothered what has been written about you. Second is obviously the technical aspect. The social media platform which you are using, basically it has got so many settings, so many features in it, where you can block, unblock, unfriend, or you can even report an abuse to the service providers. That is a technical thing. Third thing, what I suggest is basically taking a defensive mechanism, in the sense, if somebody is really harassing you, you can just switch over, like, for a few days you can stop using a social networking site also. Fourth is, please seek a social support to some reliable person to whom you rely, whom you trust, whether it's a parents, teacher, or anybody. And last, of course, is taking the help of the law enforcement agent. When I'm telling all these steps, please ensure that it's not a sequence. It depends upon the gravity of the bullying or the gravity of the harassment what you are facing. You can even directly go to the last step, that is a law enforcement agency. It is just few steps where you can cope up with the cyberbullying. This is what I wanted to say. One thing which I would like to insist, that for all the viewers, please ensure that any kind of an harassment, we always talk about not to become a victim. But let me tell you, the persons who are actually watching or who are viewing, it's not necessary that you have to be victim. At the same time, you can even become accused. So many times what happens, we think that we are not aware of the law and all. We think it as a part of a technology, or we are so tech savvy. We don't realize that we are actually committing a crime. So in case, if you do something thinking that you will be anonymous, you are actually committing a crime, whether it's a boy or girl. So ensure that you should be aware of all this, so that you do not become a victim. At the same time, you do not become an accused. Thank you, Ganesh.
Sanjay, quick questions there. A lot of times we have seen that the response from government, it takes a lot of time. And somebody who's a victim, it's really frustrating. And, I want to bring in Amit here. Amit, a lot of times when, girls, one, they have to gather a lot of power and have a strong willpower to go out. But police does not respond to them. And a lot of times it's difficult for them to explain. So are there any methods which they can use? So if somebody is being victimized, what is the first step that person can really take?
I think Sanjay has very well explained about these steps, like how can you cope up with these sort of crimes. First, you should know like whether it is a severe crime or it is just someone actually taking fun on your profile. So you should not react to each of such comment. But definitely, if somebody is after your life and stalking you and bullying you continuously, you should not let him do this continuously. You can first of all report it to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, wherever it is happening, and there are channels to report this. And then you can always go, and most of the time it can be solved over there itself, because it is something which can be taken care by these platforms. But then if this person is creating new profiles, and because of the current profile is blocked, and then he's actually created it as a strategy to follow you and to disturb you, then of course the law enforcement agencies are there. You can report it there, and they will send a request to the concerned intermediaries to trace out that person, and then they can take an action against him under these sections which I have already mentioned. And this is possible. This is definitely possible. The only thing sometimes we don't know that when we are communicating with this person, I have seen such cases when all these chats are deleted by the girl itself. You should keep these things as an evidence with this profile ID, with the date and time when this communication happened, how many times like he has approached you. So all these sample of communication chats should be kept as an evidence, so that when this case will go to police, they will use it to frame that person according to that IT Act, that what all he has said, what all he has done. Similarly, one setting which Sanjay has mentioned, like there are settings. I have seen cases where girls are not aware, like their complete friend list is visible to entire world. Now you should keep your friend list normally. If there is no such reason to make it public, you should keep it to yourself or to your friends, not to each and everyone. Anybody should not be able to see it. So somebody who is not your friend even, and he's trying to disturb you, he can see your friends. He will first be friend with your friends, and then he will try to create an situation where you should be ashamed of it. So that is something which we can stop proactively by just restraining our settings to that level, where not each and everybody should be able to see our posts, photos, and friend list.
Thank you, Amit. Now, cyberbullying has a psychological impact. It has a short-term, mid-term, and a very long-term impact. And I want to bring in Rohini here. Rohini, how do you think cyberbullying, or let's just talk about bullying, impacts individuals?
Thank you, Kanishk. I think, we often talk about believing in ourselves, no matter what, we have to believe in ourselves. But there comes a situation in our life where we start to question our own dignity. And that's what the being bullied feels like. When somebody is being bullied, of course, the major loss is happened there, because that person starts to feel some things which are like more than an emotional breakdown. There's a loss of self-esteem. There's a change in the personality, like anger, crying, depression, or withdrawal from family or friends. Person wants to spend time alone, but mainly reluctance to let anyone touch your phone or laptop, etc. I think that is why it's a very important issue that needs to be addressed right now, because because being bullied can very well impact you physically, but mainly it can impact you mentally. And mental pressure is something which needs to be addressed very urgently in this country. Thank you.
Thank you. Amit, coming back to the aspects of mental health getting impacted. So are there any such helplines, which could be accessed primarily if somebody is getting bullied, somebody is constantly being bothered? What are the helplines which people can, access if, say, suppose police is not responding? Amit, you have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, so there are many such helplines which I have mentioned in my PPT, and I will again show it to you all. There are women specific helplines, which is like in UP we have 1090, and that is something especially for women related cybercrime cases and any other cases. And you can also report anonymously over there. So we can always use, and there are similar helplines at national level as well. I have summarized all those numbers. I'll show it again. But yes, there are helplines, and you can always reach out to them for such issues and problems.
Play that slide once, that will really help. I think because you went offline. If you can present that slide.
I'll
Meanwhile,
just
yeah. Meanwhile, Sanjay, what could be some of the things where you think people need to come forward and talk to police? Because a lot of times, see the issues which are coming to me, particularly on the chat, is that police doesn't cooperate, right? And it, police take time to respond to some of these complaints. Now, what is from a police standpoint, law enforcement standpoint, why do you believe that so much of time gets taken when you're responding to cyber complaints, particularly online abuse and harassment complaints?
Kanishk, here I would like to respond that this is cyber crime is like it is a new thing which has come up, whether it is for the victims, whether it is for the accused or for the police officers. uh, we all traditionally every people there we all focus on a traditional form of crimes, even when you're like if we compare with the real world and the physical world, it is like even our parents or anybody, like we focus more on a traditional kind of a threats, like you don't come before it get dark, or it's like we are only talking about the physical thing. Like we may insist our children that okay, come before dark, but we do not know exactly what happens even in the when you're online. Maybe the child may be chatting or talking to some strangers even at till 2 o'clock. What I want to point out is even the policing also, even the police personals also, they have to evolve themselves. That's number one. Second thing is, finally, whatever the platform we give a complaint, whether it's a women helpline, whether it is what Amit was telling, like there are so many platforms, but finally it has to actually come in, it has to come to the police, and police are actually equipping themselves. The capacities are being developed, and they are sensitized for dealing so many cases. The problem is there are so many factors which actually delays the investigation. It is not because of the indifference of the police, because we have to get lot of details from so many service providers. Like for example, if we are asking details from the Facebook, we are asking data from the Instagram, or for that matter any platform. So there is a delay, and you won't imagine the amount of complaints coming in. Like every single individual has some kind of some complaint. At the same time, they do not want to prefer a case also. Here it is a biggest problem. Like we are not having a case. Like for example, if any female is harassed, her first request is that let her parents do not know. Second thing is, please somehow sort this issue without registering an FIR. Like when we do not have an FIR, we do not have a complaint, then it is very difficult for us to get the required evidences from the concerned social networking platform. So sometimes it is because of that delay. And the reason that the police is not responding, it could be true. Since I'm into police department, so I don't want to say plus or minus, but there are people maybe, but mostly the delay is because of the getting the evidences and all. The one thing which I would like to say is that uh, whatever whatever delay is there, I mean, finally it's sorted out only when you come out with some kind of a complaint. I mean, if you see the figures and all, I'll just add on to the psychological aspect. 54% of Indian teenagers who are using internet and social networking site are harassed online. I mean, this figure is actually of 2015. Just imagine at that time, the social networking sites was not that much prevalent. 21% of Indian teenagers who are committing suicide is somehow attributed to this particular online harassment. See what happens, some complaint will come to us, then we say that the child has committed a suicide. Then we go there, we invest. First of all, we say that it is a suicide. Then they say that what happened, why the person has committed a suicide. Then say that the person was depressed, and that the case gets over. but for last few years, we have started investigating why the person was depressed. And all of a sudden, 9th standard, 10th standard, the child was very good in studies. And all of a sudden, why it has to get depressed? Either the child has to be, there has to be some reason. So we are actually not realizing, we are undermining the thing. And at the same time, even the police is also parallelly moving, because we have our own limitations. Like all police personnel are not that much tech savvy, or they are not trained. We have a unit special, but maybe because of the workload or the getting the details from the service provider might be getting delayed. But uh, I want to assure you that whether it's a Kerala police or any other police for that matter, we are taking really very seriously. And especially when the harassment of the female and all is taken utmost seriously. And we have even suspended officers who have not taken prompt actions and all. So it has to clearly go to all the members who are listening. We are all very proactive in receiving or giving or dealing such cases. Thanks.
Before Amit, you want to and if you can share those helpline numbers, and we will send this to all the people who are attending this. We'll send these presentations to you. Amit, if you can share.
Yeah, sure.
And you can just cover. So let's just look at, say, you are in Noida, Greater Noida, and if somebody is getting harassed, what is the first step that person can take?
So he can always report to cybercrime.gov.in. This is a centralized portal by MHA where anybody can report a crime. It was initially created only for women and children related crime, but now you can report other kind of crimes as well. And it has a exhaustive list of nodal officers of different states, their numbers, email IDs. You can directly reach out to them as well. So I have just kept few states because I use the slide for a special presentation. But then the cybercrime.gov.in, it has a list of all the states. So you can go and find the details of all nodal officers there, or state nodal officers. Second, you can always, so any cyber crime can be reported to any local police station. There is no such jurisdiction issue in reporting a cyber crime. You can report it anywhere because it is very clear and generic. So you can always reach out to your local police station. The challenge is these local police stations may not be able to investigate it because of their limited technical know-how. So they will always refer it to cyber cell. And there are cyber cells in most of these prominent districts now in UP and other states as well. And they are growing in numbers. And I think in every district now it is made compulsory to have a cyber cell with at least 3 officers there. So it is there. You can directly reach out to there as well. In Noida, it is in Surajpur. In first floor, the police in there. This police line is there. You can always go there, and Baljeet Singh is the in charge of that cyber cell there. And then the DCP level officer is Meenakshi Katyan. She is an IPS officer. She is heading all the cybercrime division here. And then there are different other level of officers, ACP and all. So you will get to know each and everything. But you can reach out directly to Meenakshi Katyan as well. She's very helpful, very supportive lady. And I have recommended many such victims directly to her, and she has taken a quick steps and solved those cases quickly.
Thank you, Amitji. And so I think we have run out of time here. I think thank you, Amitji. Thank you, Sanjay. Thank you, Rohini, for sharing those perspectives. And Amitji, if you can get this presentation with everybody who's attending it, this will be really helpful. I will bring in Miss Anju Pandey here from UN Women. She's been doing a lot of work with UN Women, particularly with respect to managing safety of women, both in the offline and online space. And I would like to introduce our next panel. We have Mr. Brajesh Singh. Mr. Brajesh is IG with Maharashtra. He was earlier heading the cyber department handling, and he's done a lot of work creating the portals, responding to cyber crime, responding to crime against women, responding to crime against children. I also have Khushbu. Khushbu is an independent Supreme Court advocate, and Khushbu has been handling a lot of complaints, particularly with respect to online safety of women. And I also have Kiran Kiran is with the Central Bureau of Investigation, and he's been handling serious offenses which are there with respect to women and children. So Anjuji, over to you. And you want to take one question before we move on. Dr. Pradeep
Absolutely.
Is the Pro Vice Chancellor for Galgotia University. And he wanted to ask one question on behalf of the students. Dr. Pradeep,
sure, please go ahead. Please go ahead, Dr. Pradeep.
Kanishk, it was a wonderful session, the first part I've seen, and they have answered most of the questions which we normally find amongst the students. So my question is very simple. Most of the times when we have such kinds of complaints from a student, we have seen the students who are involved in the cybercrime, they are the close friends of the victim. So my suggestion to all the students who are available at this seminar, don't share your personal information with even with the closest friends. So we are seeing the chain. If you find the first person, the chain, the first person is the close friend. And most of the times when it comes out, then the victim withdrew herself from complaint. And she says, okay, since the friend is very close to me, I don't want to lodge any complaint and FIR so that my friend should not be in trouble. And this is the biggest problem. Why we are not able to resolve the problems or able to stop these nuisance? The reason is the victim is not coming with the proofs and with the complaints. So how to answer, how to resolve this issue?
Would any panelists from the previous panel want to respond to that? Otherwise, I would be actually very happy to invert the question that Dr. Pradeep you have put before us. Thank you so much, Kanishk, for inviting us. And, we've, of course, been engaging with you on this issue. So very interesting discussion from the first panel. And I'm very aware of the time. I had a lot of things that I wanted to share. So first of all, I hope everybody's staying safe, healthy, and hopeful. All of you young girls out there, my best wishes to you. And like, Rohini started, more power to all of you there. Dr. Pradeep, so I always, think about this. And I know that when Sanjay was speaking and giving us these amazing, wonderful, tips on what should be the first steps to do, it does bother me, although that, we tend to put the whole onus or responsibility or accountability on, quote unquote, the victim or the survivor. I'm not even going to use the word victim, drawing from the strength that I got from the opening remarks from Rohini. So if I look at these young girls as survivors, I think it does bother me a lot that we're putting the whole burden of evidence on them. I think in our conversation today, it's equally important. Of course, because we are talking to the young girls today and the young women out there, we would be more focused on what is it that they can do. But I think, the conversation will be incomplete if we don't hold the men and boys and other genders, quote unquote, I'm using a strong word, the perpetrators of the crime, accountable, and then look at how do we engage with them. Because I know, Sanjay, I heard you when you said that, and I was kind of, just scribbling down when you were speaking. And I thought that, when you said that when the bullying is small, ignore it or avoid it. And then I thought of the seminal report by Justice Verma. And that's where I draw the strength from, where he said immediately after the Nirbhaya case, and it's just so sad that any conversation on women's safety, that case sort of comes to our mind, but I'm drawing strength from what he had said, saying that, smaller crimes when ignored lead to graver ones, including, and I'm sure, you, all of you from the law enforcement and with your immense experience know that many a times smaller instances of, say, for example, stalking, that's how it starts, somebody who's completely in love with me, is awed with me, starts following me, and then my parents say, please ignore. The police says, please ignore. I was reading, some of the young girls have put the comments out there and we all tell them, please ignore. And then how the smaller crimes, when ignored, lead to the graver ones, including acid attack. I mean, we know that journey that girls, and particularly young girls who are more vulnerable to to certain forms of violence, including sexual violence. And as you've all rightly said that, we see the online spaces mirroring the offline spaces, and the range of abusers that they experience, whether it is stalking, voyeurism, doxing, grooming, revenge porn, the list is endless. And therefore, I do wonder whether really our message to the girls should change. We should stop telling them to avoid. We should stop telling them to ignore. And I think we should really put the focus on the boys and men and tell them that they need to stop. So just to share a data point with you, we did this very interesting study with one of our partners that we work with called IT for Change. And I would urge all the young women out there and the men and boys who have joined us to go to their website and see. And they studied about 881 girls. They reached out to them, spoke with them, and these were all between 19 to 23 years. And 44%, like you rightly said, I think the speaker before, Sanjay, you indicated the figure of 54%, and here this dedicated, this focus group of girls, 44% said they had experienced some form of sexual harassment online. 39% said their personal information was leaked. 30% said there were sexually explicit images were shared without their consent. But what's more worrying, and you drew attention to that, the fact that 29% said they continued to feel unsafe. 28% said there was anxiety and depression. And the point that I want to bring to your attention before I go to my, to my panelists and give them time to speak and hear from them is 40% said either they gave up, using mobile phones or their laptops, or they closed their social media accounts. I really get worried when we hear this advice that maybe in the short run, I think we should qualify and say, okay, to prevent immediate harm, do that. But I really don't think the burden of closing the account should be on the girls. I think it's really time that we look at how do we hold, and I know that, the police, the cyber units, you guys are doing amazing job. I mean, I understand that. I want to congratulate you all. We have a panel that has two astounding police officers with us today, Brajesh and Kiran, and of course we have a lawyer with us. But I think, it's important for us to see that the internet is not just my Facebook. It's not just my Instagram. There are, for women and girls, it holds huge opportunities to access information, education, employment, networking, socializing, expressing freedom, just my creativity, just being myself as a citizen of this country. So I think all our advice should clearly stem from the fact that every young woman who's listening to us is an equal citizen of this country and has a right to safe and equal spaces. And cyberspaces are also their workspaces. So they have a right to leisure, but also a right to dignified online cyberspaces, which is going to be, this is the new normal for us. We are most virtually connected in the ever history of humankind. So I think, it's really not just her responsibility, if I may say, although I completely echo that we all need to be informed, we all need to know, but I think, it's also time that we invert and we start putting the accountability where it belongs, So there are 3 S that I wanted to share with you on sensitization, and it's critical to start talking to the men and boys, the safeguards and services that we're discussing, and of course the sanctions. And, a lot of you from the law enforcement are here with us today. So on that note, this is what I'm proposing. I will probably invite my panelists, and we just thought that a couple of questions that are also coming from our participants, out there. So, I'd be happy to first, invite Khushbu. And I was just thinking, keeping the time in mind, Khushbu, are you okay that we continue with this format of question and answer? And, or would you want me to give you some time to, just your initial quick reflections on this particular session, which is focused on safeguards and other platforms, where we're largely going to be looking at, of course, the legal provisions, but what are some of the other critical steps, that we need to put in place. So, Khushbu, I'd be very happy to begin with you. Kanishk has already introduced everyone, so I'm not going to do that all over again. So Khushbu, please.
Thank you so much. Thanks to India Future Foundation and the university for creating such a beautiful platform with a topic which is much needed to talk about. Because when we talk about novel crimes, I understand, but the moment we talk about crime against women using internet and crimes such as cyberbullying, even if you solve that itself is an alarming cause that, one has to address. Because just by talking, creating something that it's a criminal offense and you do have legal measures or provisions for you, you do have safeguards. The first instance comes as to the awareness part that one shouldn't be victimized at the first place, because it has a very daunting effect. There have been instances, I would not have numbers, but to an extent that cyberbullying can lead to women committing suicide, because with the kind of impact it has and the societal impact with regard to the society it has. So and especially when we go on cyberbullying, bullying, I think all of us would have been aware about. It's same as just shifting the platform from normal bullying or normal stalking to a cyberbullying using internet. And internet, as to when I say that, I'll just quote one line as to, words do scar you, humors do destroy you, but bullies may kill you. And that doesn't go wrong when we see the numbers around. And, that is maybe done behind, because, people have gotten access to, these bullies have gotten access to,
anonymity.
Yes, anonymity, and they can hide behind their pretty screen and do as what has been required. I would request you to ask me questions so that we can involve more questions. We can address more.
So, one of the things, Khushbu, that I've been hearing from the first panel is everybody referring to cyberbullying. And I know Amit at one point of time said that the women and girls out there may not even know, the behaviors are so normalized. And of course, the popular culture, the Shah Rukh Khans of the world, with the greatest regard to Shah Rukh Khan, there are a lot of behaviors that are very normalized, whether it is whistling, pulling your clothes, it's like, what they say, boys will be boys. We keep hearing that. So many times, both the boys and the girls may not really understand what are the normal forms and range of cyberbullying. So although we heard that, but I'm sure that this will be of great value to, to our participants today, to just understand what would be some practical examples, because some of it may be happening if I were a 19-year-old girl today, but I may not even know because it's so normalized. So what are some of those examples of behaviors?
I'll just start with one example which keeps coming to me, be it at the school level, be it at the university level, be it after that also. That comes as to, we use the word as revenge porn, but the part that when I'm in a good terms with the other side, be it friend or be it the opposite sex friend, we do share a lot of pictures, a lot of close pictures, personal pictures. And then they come that now that has, after, a certain fight or maybe whatever the scenario, the same is all over the internet, use any platform, either a messenger platform or social media apps. So they say that they don't complain because saying that I was the one to share, so I am the one who has done the crime. So with that, I would start with that, no. There has to be a consent. Even when you have shared, that was shared for specific personal purpose.
Absolutely.
You have not given the right to the other person to share it or to, to post it without your explicit consent on that. So that's a punishable offense equally. So they always stop. I've seen almost, I would not say half, everybody stopping that is something I share. Even the parents come on saying that, our kids
you should have done that.
Pictures.
Yeah.
So that is one side of it. Now, if we say that practical examples of cyberbullying, as I'm saying, I'm starting don't have a definition called as cyberbullying, whereas our Indian laws are concerned. We are yet to have that, but we do have IT Act, Indian Penal Code, which mix and match, and these instances are punishable offense. Even when it comes to minor, we have POCSO. So I'll say that, creating somebody's fake profile using the name or the picture or both without your permission, without her knowledge or a permission, knowledge and permission, not all. In that scenario, that is called as creating a fake or an impersonated profile. That is again a punishable offense. And that's a part of it's a form of a cyberbullying. The second comes as to, bullying with mean or objectionable content or lewd comments, which we see. That is called as obscene comments on live streaming applications or offline, on any other platform, be it on your WhatsApp or on Facebook or Instagram. All of it would be is part of cyberbullying. At the same time, blackmailing, threatening somebody to disclose private or personal information, as I was talking, or images. These, there can be screenshots which can be shared as to my personal chats with somebody. Now, when you say that, or you threat somebody to leak those pictures or those personal chats or those pictures or those information or any of those sort, that is also a punishment. That is also, that is blackmailing to leak private information and picture is a form of cyberbullying. Yeah. The another one can be, sending dirty or indecent or filthy messages on WhatsApp or any other social media platform. That is, another form of cyberbullying, again, punishable offense, being part of either IPC or IT Act. We can deal with, if somebody wants to know specific sections, I can provide that also.
Sure, Khushbu.
And the other part, I'll just add 2 or 3 more as to sharing personal information online without consent, which we were talking about. The other one being hacking somebody's profile. When somebody tries to access, gain to your account, when you get that also is form of a cyberbullying. At the same time, harassing with any of your audio or a video calls through apps like WhatsApp. When you do harassment, call them via any of the medium, that is also a form of cyberbullying.
Sure, Khushbu. And I will probably come back to you a little later, because I think, there are really important issues that you're raising here. And I heard you say that, all our, participants today, that if you have shared it, and if there is a consent, you've shared it with just that person, and therefore obviously don't hold yourself responsible. If that person has breached your trust, and then has gone around, doing all kinds of things. But also it's important, like you said, to be informed, to know what the different provisions are. I think, it will be critical for us to also, maybe if not today, because we have defined time, but I'm just flagging this issue because of this whole thing about trust, because I know, Dr. Pradeep, I heard you say that about, or someone else said, that, and that's an important data point that you raised, that, whatever are people who are known to you, and this is the classic pattern in violence against women and girls. I'm not even bringing the words of patriarchy and misogyny as yet, because, the data indicates that in cases of violence against women and girls, 97% of the times, the perpetrator is known to the victim. I might be wrong by a few percentages, but I know that in most often the perpetrator is known to the, to the survivor. Therefore, it brings the larger issue, and especially because we are talking to young people today, that how do we build trust without creating this fear? Where the women are constantly fearful, ki yaar, Kanishk, for a moment, you and Amit that I've known forever, where I'm constantly fearful ki yaar, Kanishk ko do ki nahi do, Amit ko do ki nahi do information, ya number, ya photos. So, what should we do also as educational institutions? Because I understand there are 4 universities here today in building, creating these platforms for conversations where we build trust without creating more fear. British, I want to come to you for a moment, because, Khushbu referred to the anonymity of the abuser or the perpetrator. Now, I think, many a times the girls, because of all of what we are discussing, this whole culture of shame, silence, she will be blamed, ki tumne kyun post kari, tumhe nahi karna chahiye tha. So I think it would be important, for us to know from you that if they want to register anonymous complaints, how can they do it? Are there provisions available? Are there platforms available? And can they register a complaint without evidence? That's the critical issue.
Okay. So I think very important issues have been touched here. So Dr. Pradeep talked about a certain kind of social setup wherein bullying happens. See, internet has all kinds of crime, right from defrauding people to defaming people to threatening to sextortion. When we are specifically talking of cyberbullying, I understand that it happens in a particular social context where there is a common language, there is information about each other. The victim and the abuser generally are known. They may be under different identities, but they are known to each other. And a lot of behavior, as you already said, becomes normalized. That, in fact, it's also a point where people should ponder, because they are themselves engaging in a lot of these forwarding of something, comments, or maybe memes on particular person, or participating in a discussion which is about somebody. It may be about body shaming, it may be about doxing somebody.
Yeah.
It may be about sexual preferences or marginalized and other communities like LGBTQ. Internet is a harsh place. So it's like the new public square, but everybody is wearing masks. So with these masks, people feel that they have some kind of different enhanced rights. You see, this anonymity is a weapon, but this weapon, though it should be used in the context of free speech when you are dealing with the individual vis-a-vis institutions, but here it is used to commit crime or indulge in behavior which is potentially harmful to others. Anonymously, one can report. So Amit referred to this portal by Ministry of Home Affairs called cybercrime.gov.in. In fact, it started after the Nirbhaya case, and initially it was just for reporting of cybercrimes against women and children. So MHA and all the states ran it for 2 years. They perfected it. And now it has been open for all kinds of cybercrimes. So even if you're, let's say, defrauded by somebody taking your OTP and withdrawing 50,000 from your account, you can still go to cybercrime.gov.in and complain. In case you want to complain anonymously, then you can complain anonymously also. So cybercrime.gov.in has an option of reporting anonymously. But apart from that, what you can also do is that flag the content. Wherever you see this content, there's always an option. There are 3 dots or whatever at the end of it. Go click that. You can flag that content as inappropriate, and that platform is going to ask you, why don't you want to see it? Is it abusive? Is it false? Right? Is it harmful? Does it contain pornography? Is it advertising? So it takes you through a series of questions where they mark as to what this content is exactly doing. So report abuse is one good weapon which we fail to use. We should definitely go for report abuse. We should, if you want to report anonymously, you can report anonymously. You can also tag people on Twitter. Like, let's say your local law enforcement today definitely would be on Twitter. You can tag them. Then you can tell them that I'm sending things on DM, right? Or you can ask somebody to do it on your behalf. And if things are really bad, you can definitely talk to lawyers like Khushbu here. So they would
absolutely.
help you out.
Yeah. Rajesh, I do have a question for you, because we're kind of looking at how our conversation is progressing. And let's just say I have all this information and then I come and I report to the cyber cell or online. We do know that, typically even the takedown of any abusive content takes time. And for me, if I am that person who's experiencing this abuse, this is literally like life and death for me. So what are some of the things? I think it will be hugely educative for our participants today to understand, some of those complexities of the process. And, because I heard everybody ask that question, and, a lot of questions coming in the chat box on how can you accelerate access to justice, if I use that phrase, a very heavy sounding thing, but how do you accelerate that process of investigation, or just a simple takedown? What is the typical time that it's taking nowadays, and what are some of the steps being taken by the law enforcement to accelerate that part, so that I get justice sooner than or rather what I deserve as a citizen?
So typically this is what happens, that once a case comes to police, then they log into the law enforcement request portal of the platform. Now, every platform has its own portal, its own rules, its own standards, its own formats. Now, the irony here is that these private companies which are selling your data, which are using you as a commodity, and they have, to quote very sarcastically, a stellar record about the privacy of your data and its safety, then become champions
Yes.
of privacy and free speech. So you'd be amazed to know that when you go to these platforms, they do not part with information. So they say that whatever your request is subject to our company policies. It's a very anomalous situation where the state has a sovereign duty to investigate crime, to prevent harm. But this sovereign duty is blocked a company policy. So today, my country's sovereignty is subject to company policy of some social media platform, which derives its bread and butter from 200, 300 million customers in my country, right? And if you look at Section 79, there is a safe harbor there of IT Act, which says that, okay, they are not responsible for user-generated content. And these people actually hide behind something called Communications Decency Act of the US. So in 1996, when the internet came up, to sort of spur innovation, they were given a scot-free carte blanche saying that you would not be liable for any information that is put by third party. Any civil or criminal liability would not incur on these platforms. So this today has led to these platforms becoming a laissez-faire. Anybody can go and say anything to anybody. But all rights come with responsibilities. If you let's say have a right of privacy at home, you can't manufacture drugs, you can't manufacture explosives at home, right? So you will have to exercise your rights in a way which is healthy, which is appropriate, and which cares for other people's rights. So this is not, there are no norms in the internet. In this space, there are no norms, right? From nation states to everybody, it's a free for all.
Yeah.
And somewhere this norm setting will have to be done. See, law enforcement comes last when your family communication has broken down, your child is not telling what he or she is doing, when the society has broken down, when the society is not able to control how people behave with each other, when everything fails, people come to law enforcement and then they expect instant results. And when you go to these platforms, they say, oh no, free speech, privacy, we can't give you this information.
So I think, the idea of asking that question was also for all our participants to understand, just the complexity of the issue, but also, build their perspective, because I know all of us in a rush keep ticking, I agree with your policy. I agree with your policy. Important to read, important to read all those, details and just to be educated on it, just like you're looking at being educated about the laws and your rights, important to be educated about what are some of the conversations going on and what the complexities out there. I would, Brijesh, maybe, just in the interest of time, because I'm getting prompts from Kanishk, but two important things, one, and I would want to draw Kiran into the conversation. I hope, Kiran, you have joined us. Kanishk, can you please confirm? Yeah. Is Kiran here with us, Kiran Siva?
Kiran, if you can switch on your...
please, if you can switch on your video, or if the bandwidth is a problem, if you can just respond to us. Perfect. Thanks, Kiran. So, Kiran, one of the things that we have discussed so far is also the fact that evidence in investigation. So, we heard Brijesh tell us what the complexities are, but we know that in these cases of cyber crimes, particularly the kinds we're discussing against women and girls, evidence and investigation is a challenge. Like I think Sanjay said, reporting is still low. So let's just say if I reported after that whole process of investigation, including the forensic evidence in the case of a cyber crime, and maybe I will also come back to Khushbu later on that particular issue of evidence, but I'm sure we'd be very happy to understand from you, as women and girls, what are some of the challenges that you experience from, your very wide experience in terms of just what are the challenges in the crimes against women and girls and investigation and also evidence?
Thanks, Anjuji, and Kanish for giving this opportunity to be here. So, by not being technical, evidence, I'm not being technical here, so it's because when you speak about evidence, you get to speak out of a lot of things. So what people should understand ideally is You are using a phone. It is just like your twin brother or sister who is going out with you. It knows everything about you, maybe more than what you know about yourself. So your phone has a camera. You never know whether it is actually recording or not. Your phone has a microphone. We don't know what it is recording or not. You have Alexa at home. A lot of things which basically indirectly controls our lives. So we are a digital colony. Somebody else has colonized us. Now, since keeping that in perspective, of course, we can't do much about it unless we take a conscious effort. Assuming you register a case with the police, I've registered a case with the police. The question that comes is, what should I do with the evidence? What evidence should I provide? If I'm being bullied, or I had been fake ID of mine has been created and some not so nice messages have been posted from my side or against me, ideally, we should have a proof just to show. Because ours is an adversarial system of prosecution whereby the burden of proof is on the prosecution. So rightly so, we have to prove that somebody else has done something. Maybe the person who you suspect has not done it. So we have to be doubly sure before taking any final legal action on him or her. So now the question is what to do with it. We can always have screenshots in your phone of what has been done, of the alleged contents, profiles, posts, or maybe a copy of the URL of the alleged contents with date and time on if possible. And if you get your details on messages on WhatsApp or some social media platforms, you can always use a screenshot grab of those. And with location, it gives more credibility. So evidence is all about authenticity, reliability, and the integrity of the evidence. So basically, all these parameters should be there. So what makes your evidence authentic? So of course, the police will and shall have to collect further evidence, but what you provide should be authentic. Integrity should be intact. So it is better if you have a screenshot from your phone with location enabled so that it can prove to some extent that, of course, okay, you have taken it from your phone itself. And I'm not talking about those 65B certificates and all because it's too complex, but that the investigating officer will help you do that. And you can always help with some screenshots, as I told before. Email, another kind of bullying is through emails. So bullying is not just one-time incident. As they say, the words basically scar, the rumors destroy, and the bullies kill. So before it kills you, even the words, we should start complaining at the razor level. We should deal with the razor first before it becomes a knife. Yeah, so completely. When the first message comes, and every message is an additional evidence. It is a continuing crime. So the fact that the particular person, your adversary in that matter, has been continuously doing this is evidence enough to show his intent, his or her intent. So intent is very important in proving a crime. Mm-hmm. And for example, if you get an email, the investigating officer, of course, will collect it from you, but you can always have the copy of the header from where the email comes and the date and time, and the copy. You can take a screenshot, keep it. You can maybe download it in a printable format. And there are multiple ways to do that. What people do usually is when I get a message, I don't want to show it to my parents, I just delete it. Yep. And maybe 6 months down the line, when the things become very complicated, I think of going to the police. Now, they say you recover the deleted data, which is doable, but it should have been much better if you had not deleted it. See, there is nothing wrong in discussing the things with the parents because when we were kids, we were taught to cross the roads, right? First, look left, look right, look left, and ensure that there are no vehicles and then cross. But has somebody taught us to cross the information highway? No. Because we are born, fortunately or unfortunately, into a huge highway where information is money and time is money. So we don't know how to navigate it. If you ask me, I don't know really. As Brajesh sir rightly pointed out about corporations dealing with our data, what I would say is we are living in an age of surveillance capitalism. We are mere entities. We are like worse than machines. These corporations have a lot of prerogative and privacy over our data. What I post in Facebook or Instagram, nothing against these companies. I use all these. But what you type on Google, it can know your behavioral pattern. For example, if you type for a particular genre of movies in Netflix, the next day it will show, if I check about, for example, the crime thrillers, the next day I get an options to see all the psycho thrillers. So I don't want to watch those. I might have watched, checked for those, but might not have want to watch those. So we live in such a world where our lives are controlled and guided by algorithms. Multiple ways to get out of it, and that's not the subject of this webinar. But we are living in such a world, just to put things in perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. So on that, Kiran, I was just thinking, because you brought in the whole thing about algorithms, and I think, the discussion that we are having today, we've been, thinking about how do you engender, if I may use that word, the AI, because, we've had, I think I remember about 2 months ago, there was this thing about, and I'm not going to name the company, whose credit cards, for example, the algorithms were set such that it would not pick women as the prime, sort of candidates to be given those cards. So, our assumption that technology is something that's by itself, I think, that's really fallacious. And we really need to look at everything, including educating the ones who are doing the algorithms, but also getting more women and girls in multiple roles. I don't see really all the participants who are with us today just as end users of the cyberspace. There are huge opportunities for them out there. So I know that, again, because we're very mindful of the time, I'm just looking at, and parallelly, I see Brajesh is sending a lot of recommendations to all of you there in terms of how you can carry out your own investigations without being malicious. So please listen to his advice. But I have one last question for each one of you, not more than 30 seconds on this particular point, where we're not just looking at these women as passive recipients, these young women out there, but actually as active agents of change, if I may use that word. And therefore, what would be, for example, I'll go in the same order, or maybe I can reverse the order and go Kiran, Brajesh, and Khushbu, so that the woman has the last word in this panel. So Kiran, what would be your advice to all these young participants out there on really, based on your experience, and also taking up professions in the cyber sector? Maybe cyber safety, but a range of things out there. So just 30 seconds each.
Yeah, it's a nice proposition to think about. Actually, you were talking about algorithms. I was reading something on weapons of math destruction. So how algorithms avoid certain people from getting into certain jobs or something. Yes. So when you think about an algorithm to guide you, so you need people from diverse backgrounds. Precisely. So it's not, why should you be the agents of change? You can always be the drivers of change. Precisely. So why should you be just an agent? Yeah. So basically, more women in cybersecurity, the cyber safety fields, more women as people who can code, more women in law. It gives an entirely different perspective. Sure. Totally. So, however, I say I can be gender neutral, but my way of thinking, in certain ways, I think I do think like a boy. I do think like it's natural. So
the whole natural thing, Kiran, can be a whole debate by itself.
We can't do it in our generation. The next generation, we have to de-pink and de-blue our children. Yeah. Why should they be pink for girls and blue for
completely
blue boys? So we have to de-pink and de-blue them.
And so I think it's each generation's.
Now is at least get more and more girls and women into the domain, and it's always doable. People can do much better.
Completely. Completely, Kiran. Thank you so much for bringing that energy back and, encouraging our participants. And with my gray hair here, I can tell you each generation has a responsibility. We can't absolve and keep looking at the young people and say, change the world, because we made a mess of the world for them. So we are equally accountable. Brajesh, I'll come to you now on your last 30 seconds.
Okay, excellent points about ethics of AI. If your initial seeding algorithm is biased, then probably it would lead to large harm. So there is something which needs to be done about ethics of AI. Excellent points there. I'm a father of two very independent young girls, and I feel that they don't need anything from anybody. They are bright, they are confident, and they do not feel encumbered in any way by their gender. And in fact, if I tell them that I'm participating in this, they would say, what is the need for participating in this? Because they come from a different world. But I feel that women have a different perspective. They really humanize this online world of Lord of the Flies kind of thing,
Yeah.
There's a beautiful novel called. So I believe that women are here to humanize this space. And as Kiran said, we need more women in cyberspace.
Sure. Thanks a ton. Khushbu, we come to you, and yes.
I think to add on, when you say that when you teach a man, it's him you are teaching, but when you teach a woman, next two generations are being taught, or she creates awareness about it. So yes, when we talk about cybercrime or cyberbullying or anything with regard to cyberspace, yes, entry in every sphere, not just cyber. I would say that yes, women should be part of it. But if I just say that awareness part, whereas cyber or cybercrime and other things are concerned about technology, they should be aware, because that's where you start the youngest generation being with their mother out there, learn. And if they are not aware or they do not impart the education the way it has to be, it doesn't, it can do wonders if women out there can make their son and daughters understand that what exactly cyberbullying is and what you should or you should not. Every platform, everything has rules and regulations to, abide with when you use it. Same comes with the internet also. So, yes, I would say that apart from every other field where women should be, this is one of it that every woman should be aware about when it comes to cyber.
Yeah, so, although I would completely concur and agree with you on being educated, on being informed, I again and again, because this is a perspective building forum, I get very worried when we put the whole responsibility on the mothers. It is a big part of socialization, but don't tell me all those boys out there, who are doing all the boys' locker room kind of things, their mother didn't tell them what not to do, So I think there are many more influencers in your life in addition to the mothers. And I think the fathers have a huge role in terms of who the boys are emulating. And I think we need to put those, another big, large issue of the care work and the responsibilities at home. We can go on and on forever. But thank you so much, all my panelists, so proud of you all. And it's such a privilege for me to be moderating this session. Thank you so much. And we'll probably stop at this moment because I know that then Kanishk will take over from us. Thanks a lot again, and all of you participants for your patience and your engagement. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anjuji. With this, we come to the end of this session. Before we move on, there is a short quiz which is organized by Galgotia University. I have a small presentation which I wanted to share. This typically talks about some of the questions which were asked today in terms of what are different technologies which are getting used, particularly with respect to cybercrime. What are different types of cybercrimes? If you people are able to see my screen.
Yes.
Yeah. So to cybercrime, you see that these days online bullying, electronic bullying has become really popular, and people are using different technologies. So today, cyber technologies which are typically used for cybercrime: email, cell phones, pages, instant messages, defamatory personal websites. So there are specific websites which we can find where you can find content which could be harmful. Chat rooms. Anjuji just spoke about boys' locker room. Let's just understand some of the types of cyberbullying. in fights using electronic messages with angry and vulgar language, harassment, cyber stalking, denigration, impersonation, outing, trickery, exclusion. These are some of the cyberbullying types, where people are asking us. So there are different types of cyberbullying activities which are happening right now. And these are some of the classifications which we see. Now, how does it impact everyone? Now, when somebody gets impacted, particularly the younger ones, they make children more vulnerable. They face physical and mental torture, and it impacts them professionally, personally, and a lot of times they switch off. It impacts in creating them lonely. A lot of times, students who are undergoing cyber bullying or bullying, they develop a disinterest. Particularly, they would be more absenteeism. There will be rise of absenteeism. Their concentration level will get impacted. Now, why I'm trying to cover this is there are teachers who are there in this session. So if you come across such students who sometimes you feel are not talking, students who are disinterested, it's important that you have those conversations with them, because these are some of the signs that somebody is being victimized. And a lot of times teachers have to come forward and talk to students about this. Particularly students who get disinterested, a lot of times we have seen that they are a victim of some kind of cyberbullying. They are a victim of some kind of somebody is harassing them. So it's important that we take care. Now, the repercussions could be illness. A lot of times cyberbullying would not have a direct impact, which could be visible, but there could be illness with respect to their stress levels increasing, their skin conditions. You have seen students developing stomach ulcers just because of too much of worry. We have seen their habits change. So these aspects have to be taken. Now, students who are staying in hostels, it's important you watch out because they're away from their family. And a lot of times, because of cyberbullying, people get into these extreme tendencies, which are societal tendencies. So very important to watch out, particularly for teachers and also for students, to look out for each other when some of these conditions come up. Now here are certain signs, certain variation in device use. People end up deleting accounts, stop using social media, asking others to block them. You find that a lot of times they have many new people enter new chat rooms and they make a strong shift. So people would stop interacting in physical, but would have more contacts or social shifts, talking to strangers. Now these are some of the signs which are there typically. There is a strange impact that particularly a lot of time the self-esteem goes for a toss. There is also a change in physical habits. You would see that who've got impacted, eat less, sleep less. They would have more, their concentration level will go down. They are nervous, they are jumpy. And when they're using their phone, you would say that they're most of the time just focused on their phone. Now that is also a tendency. People will just be focused towards online. And avoidance. They would avoid people, they would avoid classes. So very strong signs that you need to watch out for. Isolation. Now these are things which you need to watch out for. And if you find somebody who is behaving like this, it's important you bring them out, you raise an alarm, you talk to that person. You should have a mechanism where you can go back to your teacher or counselor, or if you have a group of friends, bring that person in and rather than leaving that person out. Coping up for cyber strategies for cyberbullying. A lot of times give people space, follow people who are there, give them a calm approach. You can't go and tell them that they are becoming compulsive, but try and have conversations. When people are getting impacted through cyberbullying, it's important. A lot of times you have to shut that door, stop using social media, report, block if somebody is trying to abuse you. Certain legal measures which some of my colleagues have covered, Section 507 of IPC, Section 66E of Indian IT Act, Section 499 of IPC. These are some of the legal measures which could be taken. Now, if you want to discuss some of these aspects, you can reach out to our social media channels. And last but not the least, we have a helpline in place. We have Rohini, who's part of our team, who's taken the step forward, where she will be helping students who are undergoing any kind of trauma, stress with respect to bullying or cyberbullying. And you can send an email to our helpline, which is helpline@indiafuturefoundation.com, and we would be happy to support in any offline counseling or help you if there are any issues which have impacted you. We have a team of experts who would be happy to address some of the aspects. And we have seen Amit ji, we have seen people like Sanjay who have supported a lot of people. Amit ji particularly has helped solve a lot of cases with respect to cybercrime, even if it comes to registering complaints where people have got impacted and people have not got support from local police. That's all from my end. Everyone, thank you so much for your time and patience. I'll hand over.
I think Sanjay wants to answer something.
Sure.
Sanjay, would you like to add something?
Sure.
Yeah, Sanjay.
Amit, actually, that was answered in between. In fact, when I was just going through various questions which was being supplied to us, there was one query like, what to do like when anybody is blackmailing on your photograph, some of your obscene photograph. That was, I think, that question has appeared two, 3 times. So I thought, but it was in the process. It was answered actually. So that is already done.
Okay. Thank you, Sanjay.
I'll just bring in Rohini. Rohini will be focusing on aspects of helping women and girls who are getting impacted because of bullying, any kind of exploitation. And Rohini, you please go ahead and share your views. And I've already spoken about the helpline. Can you talk about your experience, how you're helping students?
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much, Kanish. Thank you. But I think we've taken up a lot of time for everyone here. But I think in the end, I would just like to say that if you girls, we all women just choose our peer, our company wisely, we can do anything. Just start valuing yourself, because often it happens, when we are actually dealing with something. But if you value yourself and if you have belief in yourself, I think we can do anything. We can achieve anything, be it reporting or be it, reporting to a crime or anything. I know there might be some times where we feel helpless, that there's a society pressure, there's a pressure from our family, or, there's a pressure that what would others think of us. But just believe in yourself and everything will be all right. That's what I would like to add on. And I'll always be there to help you. Just reach out to me by the helpline, which Kanish has already shared. And just choose your company wisely and be well. Value yourself. Don't compare yourself with anyone else. You are born with such special powers. Just value yourself and it'll be all right in the end. Thank you. That's all.
And thank you, all the audience for taking out time for this webinar. With this, we have now come to the end of the webinar. Although there is one special quiz which Dr. Pallavi and Galgotia University team have created. So Dr. Pallavi, over to you now.
Yeah, hello, good evening, all of you. Thank you so much, Kanish, to organize such a good webinar with the very prominent speakers we were having today. And Rohini, Manchanda, Sanjay sir, Amit Dubey sir, Anju ma'am, and Khushbu was there, Kiran was there. So you are really enlightening us. We are having 15,000 students in our university, where we are having maximum girls are also here, and girls are from very, far from different states of country, and we do have international students with us. So this webinar really helping us to, at least as I am Associate Dean for the Student Welfare as well, I got to know so many things from here, how we can manage our students' queries, how girls can be saved. Although our university, we have a Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Preeti Bajaj, ma'am, she is more concerned with women. She is she always helps us. She always take care, whatever the questions we do have. She is also creating women, like so many council teams, communities we are having, as because of this pandemic situation, we are not joining university from last 4 months. But still she is in touch with us. If our students are taking lectures or sessions on Zoom, they are facing certain problems like cyber, as students are saying, there's cyberbullying, is there some pornography videos are, if the only, we do have mechanical students, only one girl if in this class, they may face certain issues. So they used to interrupt us, they used to tell us, faculty sometimes facing some issues. So we try to get into it, and we try to make, certain passwords or something to get entered to the class. So this kind of checks we are trying to, being a vigilance, we used to get into it. Thank you so much, Kanish, to enlighten us. My student Sumati wanted to speak something about these prominent speakers. Sumati, hand over to you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. To conclude this discussion session, I would like to express gratitude to all the speakers for the intellectual discussion and expertise they lent us for the evening. I'm sure that all the present parties are better informed because of stimulating conversation on the tackling cyberbullying. Exploiting and abuse as faced by the women is a professional academic realms alike. I would like to extend my thanks to Dr. Pradeep Kumar sir, Dr. Munish sir, Dr. Kanish sir, and Dr. Pallavi ma'am, whose work in making this event successful was crucial. To end this proper event, however, we do have some rather engaging our attendees, through which we hope to give even more value to this webinar. Without delay, we will now start the Kahoot quiz. For this Kahoot quiz, you have to open your browser.
Sumati, 1 minute.
Yes,
I hope, Kanishk, your team also can be with us for the Kahoot quiz, how the students and the faculties who are here can join to us.
I can only request them. A lot of them are also speaking in some of the other webinars. Yeah, I can only request them to be there. But I can tell you if there are any issues where people are getting harassed, my team would be happy to support. Amit, Sanjay, Khushbu is a lawyer. She's helped a lot of women with respect to handling cybercrime cases. She's represented a lot of people in court. Amit has helped in investigating cases. Amit has also helped in terms of getting complaints registered. The bigger issue that we face is that women find it tough to get complaints registered. Has been working very closely with women helplines in Delhi, Uttar Pradesh, and Roni would be there to support on the counseling part.
Wonderful, wonderful. I hope, Kanish, we will get all the helpline details, everything. If you will, could email it to us so we can send it to the university level as well as to the university websites also for my students helpful.
I'll just add over here, Khushbu this side, in case any of the women faces difficulty, I'm ready to help out at the first stance.
Thank you so much, Khushbu. Thank you so much, Rohini, Anju ma'am. Kanish, you are superpower for us because you are really gem for Galgotia Group. You are really doing very well for your juniors, I can say, because you're the alumni of Galgotias. We are very happy to have you. So, I think my team is ready. Technical team is ready for start the quiz. Kahoot quiz will be organized by Bhavya Dubey today. Bhavya, I think you can come up with the instructions, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Bhavya, we need to make you host. It is okay with the co-host? Bhavya, it is fine?
Yes, ma'am, it is fine. It's fine. So all the students who will be entering for the Kahoot quiz, you have to go to www.kahoot.it, and I'd like to mention one thing. Please put your full name as your nickname, okay? Because these are going to be your names for the certificate. I would like to suggest one more thing, that the questions will be available on the screen sharing device. So it would be more preferable if you open another device and put www.kahoot.it on it and enter the game pin 3923263. further, Sumati will take over and she will be explaining more about it. Sumati?
Thank you, Bhavya. For this, you have to open your browser on another device and type www.kahoot.in. There you have to enter your full name. No fake names are allowed, as Bhavya mentioned. Only the real names will get the certificates. The pin is which is display on the Zoom screen. The pin which is display on the Zoom screen. Your question will be displayed as on the Zoom screen only, and you have to mark options on your browser screen. That is on another device screen. The fastest and the right finger will get the points.
Rightly said, Sumati. I would request all of you to come with your real names because these are going to be your exact names for your certificate. So if there are any, there is any mistake, then we won't be able to solve that. So I request you all to kindly put your real name, and we would be crossing out the names which we find as nicknames or the ones which are not full names.
Also, no commas, no dots, and no underscores are allowed.
Yes. Kirti Ahuja, I saw. Kirti Ahuja, can you please come with your, without the underscore? Can you please put your name without the underscore?
All right, I'll go ahead.
Sure. Thank you.
It doesn't, excuse me.
Yeah.
Does it accept the full name? Matlab, it's like two
Yeah.
maybe
I got it. So for that, you can email on bhavyadube99@gmail.com.
Can you put
So
that in the
if
chat box?
sure, I'll just put that on the chat box. So if your name, if you're not unable to put your full name, then you can simply mail me. Excuse me. Yeah.
Hello, ma'am.
On which item you have to mail?
Sorry, I'm unable to hear you.
On which ID we have to mail regarding?
Yeah, I've sent the ID on the chat box.
Okay.
So that is bhavyadube99@gmail.com. So if I would be only accepting the name changes, I won't be accepting any new names. So make sure that you've joined the quiz.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, I won't be able to join that app.
Okay. So have you gone to www.kahoot.it? Yeah. Are you able to hear me? Can you hear me?
Ma'am, I won't be able to join that. I won't be able to join that www.kahoot.it.
Okay. So
Yes,
try
ma'am, you are
refreshing your
audible to
page.
me.
Yeah. Try refreshing your page and then do it again.
Oh. Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. I'm doing.
Is the Aryan with us? Aryan and Aryandra?
Yes, ma'am. Aryan is with us. Aryan? We have total 142 participants. So I request all of you to join the Kahoot quiz. In order to get the certificate, you need to join this quiz. And the questions will be based on what our panel of speakers said today. Indeed, they shared a great knowledge with us. There are a lot of things that we are unaware of generally. And today we've got to know a lot of things that we got to know as well as we can teach others. If your friend, your roommate, your sister, anybody is facing such an issue, we can help them now because we've got the knowledge. So I hope this webinar was a
We got the
great one
knowledge.
for you.
We got the knowledge. We got the legal advisor names, and we got the counselors. We got the advocates.
Exactly. Vanshika Chabra, I think you're not able to put the space in between your name. Please, like I won't be able to change the name. So please, if your name is incomplete, then that's fine. Just try to put your name according to how it actually is.
I'm requesting to all the participants, please put your correct names over here. Don't put irrelevant names, irrelevant words over here. You just attended cyberbullying. If you will come with the wrong name, Super B27, we will delete you. We will remove you from here because these are going to be get on your e-certificates.
Hello?
Yes.
Ma'am, I just saw that you deleted a name, Purnima Sharma. That's my whole name with space.
It's like I think I just hovered over it. It wasn't deleted.
I thought you deleted it.
No. Just have a look. I'm just going through the list.
I'm requesting my technical team, if you will find any relevant names over here, please strike it on the spot.
Sure, ma'am. Sure.
Because we don't have time. It's already 8:30. So it's 95 participants I'm able to see. As soon as it will be get 100, please start the quiz.
Please come by your real names.
I would like to mention all that these names will be visible on your certificate and name won't be changed again.
Excuse me, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you please help me out in this? I'm Adra Vasi and I'm entering my name. And further, what I have to do to join this quiz?
Have you entered the name? Are
Yes,
you able
I
to
have entered.
see? Yeah. So now you have to wait, and I will start the quiz. So whatever questions will be there, you'll be able to see them on the screen share on Zoom, and you have to. Options will be available on your device. Okay, on www.kahoot.it. So you have to answer on the other device, and the questions will be available on your screen.
Means I have to take another device to answer my questions?
Yeah. Or you can open in another browser, and you can split the screen into half if you're on a laptop.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the questions are available on the Zoom?
Yeah. You will be able to see them. And in fact,
Okay.
Sumati, she will also be dictating the questions for you, because some people are not able to read that, and sometimes there is network issue also. So Sumati will be reading them. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Anytime. So we have 101 players right now. If anybody wants to join, they have another minute. So it's 8:28 right now. We'll wait till 8:29 or 8:30. So you guys can join. If anybody is having any issue while joining, they can ask. Yes, Vaishali.
Ma'am, am I on name? Ma'am, is my name in the list?
Okay, I'll just Yeah, just a minute. I'll just go through the list and tell me if you're able to see your name. In fact, this is for everyone. You guys can see your names. So you can just confirm if you've been registered.
Okay, ma'am, I got it. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Anytime.
I think team, you should start now.
Okay, ma'am. So, Sumati, I will, and you have to read out the questions for everyone.
Okay, I will. Thank. So first question is, what is cyber stalking? Option red, a person walking behind a person. Option blue, looking up someone's personal information using technology. Option yellow, people stalk in a cyber world. Option green, verbally sharing personal information about a person. So on the top is Gargi Gupta, then Saloni Gupta, then Kanika Mishra, Mandeep Kaur, and Khushi Asthaya. Congrats to all. Now second question. How do you deal with cyberbullying? Option red is tell a trusted adult. Option blue, leave all content from online services. Option yellow, welcome all senders. Option green, retaliate and fight back aggressively. Again, Gargi Gupta, Mandeep Kaur, Kanika Mishra, Asim Gupta, Asmi Gupta, Sneha Mehta.
Mehak Khurana is the toppest one. She's coming up.
The third question, which of these is a cyberbullying? Option A, red, saying hello. Option blue, saying kill yourself. Option yellow, saying get a life. Option green, saying bye. Option blue is the right answer. Gargi Gupta again, Mandeep Kaur, Kanika Mishra, Asmi Gupta, Nidhi Bhatia.
Gargi Gupta is from Galgothias?
Yes, ma'am. She is from my class.
I doubt on you all.
How are bullying and cyberbullying similar? Option red, the bully is always fat. Option blue, both are acts of aggression to cause harm to a victim. Option yellow, the victim can't always fend for themselves. Option green, the bully has exposed to bad parenting or insecure. Option blue and yellow are the right answers. Again, Gargi Gupta, Mandeep Kaur, Asmi Gupta, Nidhi Bhatia and Kanika.
They all are from Galgothias?
I'm a doubt. I don't
Bhavya?
know.
Yes, ma'am. Most of them are.
Yes, Sumati. Who's
to
open
abuse
to abuse
online? Red, people who are different.
Young people.
Blue, young people. Yellow, no one. Green, everyone. The green one, the green is the right answer. Again, now Asmi Gupta is on the top. Nidhi Bhatia, Ankita Kumari, Purnima Sharma, and Simran Shamshad. What is the image-based? Red, sexual extortion. Blue, sharing content without consent. Yellow, the sharing of personal sexual content without permission. Green, all of above. The green is the right answer. Asmi Gupta on top, Nidhi Bhatia, then Purnima Sharma, Simran Samshal, and Nikita S. Now, true and false. Trolling and cyberbullying are the same thing. Blue, true or false? The false is the right answer. We have top on Purnima Sharma. Why is it important to not to put up with any kind of abuse? Red because it's cool, blue because it's trendy, yellow because it's wrong, green because you have the right to speak against it. Green and yellow are the right answers. Purnima Sharma on top, Zubi Zabi next, and B Monica followed by Gurneet Kaur and Asmi Gupta. What are crime against women? Red, only threats. Blue, act of gender-based violence that result in physical harm. Yellow, psychology harm. Green, equal work for equal pay. Blue is the right answer. Purnima Sharma on top, then Zubi Zabi, then B Monica, followed by Gurneet Kaur and Satakshi Soumya. Why should you make a social media account? Red, to secretly say mean things about others. Blue, to spread rumors. Yellow, to gain popularity. Green, to share things with others in a positive way and for your own happiness. The green is the right answer. Purnima Sharma on top. Why should you believe in yourself? Red, because I can do anything I set my mind to do. Blue, because I have value and I'm willing to work for what I want. Yellow, because I have everything I need to be successful. Green, because I am smart enough to know that I am get better every day when I work. all other right answers because you should always believe in yourself. Now, B Monica is on the third with 11,028 score. Zubi Zubi on second, and on first, Purnima Sharma. Congrats, Purnima.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
You will be provided all the certificates on the WhatsApp group itself. So don't forget to join that group.
Sumati, can you please share the link to the group, the second group that we have?
Yeah, sure, Didi.
Okay, fine. Congratulations to the parties. Congratulations to the winners and who all participated. Don't worry, we do have lots of webinars in future. So don't get harassed that you didn't achieve. You will definitely. We do have lots of webinars in future. In future, we are organizing one webinar where my student who already wrote 3 books on technical and research papers, and he will guide you. If you all are interested, please join. The student of 3rd year BTech CSC will, I'm going to organize him as his lecture, as a webinar, because we are doing these webinars for the students only. So if faculties are also coming, don't worry, because you all are away from us. We are unable to meet each other. We are, this is a pandemic situation, are forcing us to give you maximum good knowledge, and you all, whole world is online this time. And you all are somehow, as some of the students and lots of people are facing cyberbullying on and off. So Zoom is one of the example. As I was checking the chat box, so many queries were there related to that. So don't worry, students, especially the girls are here, but yes, my boy students are also here because they are my technical team. I cannot work without them. Aryan Arendra and Ashutosh Singh, they are very helpful, my kids. And Sumati, Bhavya Dubey, very well handled the whole webinar. Thank you. Thanks a lot. And stay tuned with us. We do have lots of webinars, 3 technical webinars soon we are going to organize. Don't worry about your e-certificates. It's with us. We all are safe because we cannot release e-certificates on the spot, because whenever we are going to tackle those, names of the students, very abusive languages were there. That is, you all are studying here today. So we need to segregate. We are taking time. We cannot release the irrelevant names, e-certificates. So give us time. Stay tuned with us. Thank you so much. Good night, all of you. I hope, Bhavya, we can leave the meeting now.
Yes, ma'am.